but we do have a question here, and it has to do with your choice of doctor. Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, if you have a case, you're injured, you have to go to the employers or the insurance company's choice of doctor. Is that correct? And
that is correct. Iowa is what's known as an employer choice state. And that means that because your employer, or more accurately, the insurance company, has to pay for the medical care, that they also get to choose who provides that medical care. Now, this is, this is a good question, and it's a good topic, because there are limits on that choice, on the ability for employers or their insurance carriers to choose who provides that treatment. Any treatment that so they get to choose the provider, okay? But they don't get to micromanage what that provider recommends. And that's what I see happen a lot of times. My client gets injured at work. The insurance company says, you must go to Dr. A. Dr. A says, all right, I need to refer the injured worker to Dr. B because Dr. B is an orthopedic specialist. Or I need to refer the injured worker for an MRI of their neck because I believe they may have a herniated disc. And the workers' compensation insurance company says, we're not going to authorize that referral to Dr. B, or we're not going to authorize the MRI. Well, under Iowa law, they cannot do that. They try to do it all the time, but Iowa law says, look, you get to pick the provider. You do not get to micromanage that provider's treatment recommendations. Once you pick that provider, insurance companies are obligated to authorize and pay for whatever treatment that provider recommends, so long as that provider says, yes, this is reasonable and necessary to treat the work injury. And so 80% of my clients, maybe even more, start coming to me and hiring a lawyer. And this isn't just me. This is most workers' compensation attorneys in the state of Iowa. 80% of the people who seek out an attorney are seeking out an attorney because of problems getting medical treatment. Okay? And so often it's because either the insurance company is not authorizing any medical treatment, or they've chosen the doctor to treat it, and then they're not listening to what that doctor says. They're not authorizing the treatment that doctor says, whether it's physical therapy or referral to another specialty or a diagnostic test. They just ignore their own doctor. And so those are the biggest reasons why people seek out an attorney to begin with. And then we can do something called an alternate medical care petition, where if we can show that the treatment that the insurance company is providing is not reasonable, it's not prompt, it's not suited to treat the injury, we can get an order requiring the insurance company to provide that alternate medical care we are requesting. Now, this has turned into quite a chore, frankly, in most workers' compensation cases. Most injured workers would never come find an attorney if they were just getting their medical care paid for and getting sort of that partial wage replacement when they can't work because of their injuries. And so this failure to provide medical care is really one of the biggest issues that drives injured workers to attorneys, because they need help navigating the system and making the insurance companies pay for the treatment that they need. I had another thought on the same line, but I can't think of what it is at the moment.
How does the regular employee who feels that they need some help, how do they pay for your services?
Well, I mean, most attorneys in the state of Iowa, we work on a contingency fee basis, okay? So we end up taking a percentage of whatever benefits we help get paid to the injured worker. Now, but here's an important distinction. In almost every case, every workers' compensation case I have, I probably spend 25% to a third of my time fighting with the insurance company about getting medical treatment for my client. Okay. And that's probably, that's probably close to a third of my time in most cases. I don't get paid for that.
Right.
And on top of that, when I am trying to get, represent United Healthcare or Blue Cross Blue Shield because they have these subrogation claims and want to get paid back, or Medicare or Medicaid, or getting these Medicare set-aside accounts set up to protect Medicare in the future. All these other health coverage programs that I spend so much time getting paid back, I don't get paid for that either. So
wow.
Workers' compensation attorneys spend a lot of time trying to get things straightened out in this system where we're not even getting paid for our time. And then, of course, the person who is paying is the injured worker who's supposed to be getting these no-fault safety net benefits, because that's the only source of getting paid on these cases. Otherwise, we would have no means of taking them. And if we weren't doing things on a contingency fee basis, injured workers would have no way of paying somebody by the hour for the sometimes many, many, many hours we spend fighting with these insurance companies to get treatment for our clients. So, I wish they allowed attorneys' fees in the workers' compensation system the same way they allow for it in employment law cases, because it's unfortunate that it is the injured workers who end up having to share these already limited benefits with the attorneys, because otherwise the attorneys have no way of keeping, the lights on and having a law practice if we aren't doing these things on a contingency fee basis.
Right.
It shouldn't come out of the injured worker's pocket. It should come out of the employer or insurance carrier's pocket, because if they were doing what they were supposed to, the injured worker would never seek an attorney in the first place.
What would be one thing that you'd really like to see changed in Iowa's workers' compensation laws? What would be, it doesn't have to be a big thing, but what's one thing that you're just like, oh my God, if only we could change this one thing?
If only we could reverse the changes to the legal system that went into place in 2017. Because without going into all the nuances of this, it essentially did two things. One, it drastically cut the benefits that are available to injured workers. And number two, it created a lot of mechanisms for abuse by these insurance companies or unscrupulous employers, where they can delay and deny benefits to injured workers without consequences. For an injured worker, they may hire me as an attorney to go after the insurance company and get these benefits paid, but it may take me 2 years. And in the meantime, their house has been foreclosed on. And that doesn't do them any good 2 years from now. And so that overall package of what took place in 2017 was Iowa's race to the bottom. And so the number one thing I'd like to see changed is just have all of those changes removed off the book. Let's go back to where we were before the legislature gutted our system in 2017.
But to get to that point, we'd have to flip at least one of the houses and also the governor, correct?
It would be very challenging to get anything passed without having, I think, Democratic control of the House, the Senate, and the governorship.
All three. Okay.
Probably. I will say this. The work comp system is somewhat esoteric and has all these kind of strange little rules that are traps for the wary when they don't understand what it is. And I think we've come a long way in trying to educate some of the House members, at least, about so that they have a better understanding of the system than maybe what they had back in 2017. So we are getting some I think, bipartisan compassion, at least in the House. You know, but it would be challenging.
Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you so much. I don't see any more questions, and basically our time is about up. I've had a great time. I thought this was really interesting. Again, coming from a point of view where I know very little about it, but I appreciate all the things you were telling me and the hard work that you put into it and the compassion you have for the work that you're doing. It's amazing. And I bet at times it's pretty heartbreaking, but thank you for what you're doing.
It is heartbreaking, but you know, somebody has to fight for these people. I mean, they're human beings.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yep. Well, thank you again, and everybody listening. I appreciate whoever hooked in and listened to this great conversation. This was with Saffin Parrish Sams, and again, she is a local Johnston attorney. And in fact, I did some landscaping at the house she lives in right now.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Bye.
Bye-bye.